Hello and welcome to RC Scale Studios. My name is Kenny and I'm going to try to make this Arma Limitless car go over 200 miles an hour, guys. Take a peek at what I got going on here. Got double motors going in this thing and we're coupling up directly to our differentials. Getting rid of the center spool, getting rid of the drive shafts, coming up with a super smooth running car. I think we're going to do pretty good here. There's a lot of upgrades on this car that we've done. We're getting ready to put it back together. All the hard stuff is done right now at this point. I'm thinking we made a few parts for the car too. I'll be making some more videos of what we're doing with the car as I'm putting this back together. And there's just a whole bunch of cool stuff going on here. On these side rails we have coming back here, trying to stiffen up the chassis. It also gives us a little place for our batteries to kind of rest up against a little bit here. It also gives us something to mount our body to. We're going to use Velcro on this. Also, we're going to bolt on some aluminum wings back here and get this thing really rigid from the front to the back. It's almost like an airplane back here or a weather vane. You know, the faster it's going, the straighter it's going to want to go, or at least this back is going to want to follow the front wherever that front is going. So if it drifts off just a little, it's not going to shoot off at an angle that way. The back should follow it over just a little. If it does drift some, it still should keep going straight for us if we're rigid. Now, the stock ones, you know, being plastic, aren't so rigid. They're probably good up to 100 or 120, but I even seen some videos on these guys where they were kind of going, woo, 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 you know, bending and wobbling around. And we don't need that at high speed. We need the car to do what it needs to do. Stay straight and stay on the ground. So that's what we need to do. We need to keep our differentials together also. We did a lot of upgrading on the differentials. I'll get into on probably the next video here, along with the things that we did to get our motors mounted and so on and so forth on that. Also on these little front plastic things here, everybody's talking about throwing them away because of the drag and too much downforce and things like that. And I was looking at these the other day and I was going to throw them away myself too. I started looking at them, I started thinking a little bit, so I have some stuff to say about this also, if you guys might want to hear. Might be a little interesting. Other good things we have going on here that's surprising me a little bit here is this Fly Sky radio. I'll be getting you guys a lot of information on this also. I was at the park the other day trying to give this like a range test and stuff like that. I GPS'd the park, you know, the park right at almost a quarter mile, and I used this receiver, which is actually like, I believe for drone or something, or aircraft, but it binds right to this radio. And if you look at these antennas compared to the antennas that come with the cars, you know, I couldn't believe the difference. So I tried this. It bound right to the radio. I had no problems getting it binded together, and the range at almost a quarter mile barely went down at all. I was really surprised. So I'm going to get more information, more testing on this. I'll get all on video for you so you can see me walk it off, you know, the distance and all that kind of stuff, and we're going to see how far this actually goes. At this point, I'm really surprised at this thing. Very impressed at this point. So this is exciting. We'll find out how far this is going to go. A lot of guys are putting range extenders on these and all kinds of stuff and changing antennas, whatever, on other radios and things. And we might have a new thing in our arsenal here. This guy right here. Keep you posted on this. Really exciting. This is exciting too. We want to see this at way over 200 miles an hour. So stick with it. Hopefully we'll get some numbers that are absolutely sick. Other fun things we have going on, we're actually going to make a small wind tunnel to find out what the air is actually doing as it travels over the car and through the car. And that's something I wanted to talk to these about also. I want to talk to you guys about these a little bit in that regards. And as the air comes over the car, I know some's going to come through. So we got this big old fan back here that I actually picked up from a swap meet for like 50 bucks. Beyond cool. I'm thinking we can mount that by a table. We'll get maybe a fog machine or something. Try to get some smoke coming through here. Who knows, I'll fire up my smoker and Armour will end up smelling like mesquite who knows? Anyways, we'll get some kind of smoke coming over the car. I'll get all this on video, and we can check it out and actually see where does the wind go on this car. You know, what is it doing? Maybe that can help us dial in, you know, our downforce and different things like that. So that's kind of cool. I'll get in depth about what we needed to do to couple our motors up directly and the options that we had. Some options we had. One was even like a universal joint, and this is off of a CNC machine. And that allows a little flex in this application here, and that allows the motor to actually be up at an angle, you know, which makes it really easy to install. However, this might fail. It did really good in the testing. I stuck it in a vise. I started twisting it, and it did start to come apart like that. And then at one point, whoops, it actually broke, you know, so it could fail. However, it was really, really strong, and I may use this in a different model application. It's a cool piece, and they're inexpensive. Anyways, and when this started to fail, it started twisting, and when it twists, it like was a spring coming undone, so it came outwards and then broke off. Now, if you have a shaft here and here, and it's clamped down tight, and this can't come out this way, I'll bet it'd be even stronger. And it was strong to start with. However, we're not taking any chances on this car. We're going real fast with it. We're going to eliminate everything we possibly can, like the center spool, the drive shafts, couplers that we know are going to work for sure and not break. This is steel. These are actually couplers off of a helicopter. This was driving the tail of actually a vintage helicopter, honestly. But this is a steel coupler. You can see all the little screws in there to hold it. 4 on both ends. Very cool. Good part there. That makes that kind of bulletproof for us here, but it made it very difficult to mount the motors, and I'll get into that later on. Also, we're going to have a camera on the car here, up on the fin in the back. Just made a little shroud thing for it, trying to get the wind to go around that nicely for us. We're going to use some Fat Shark goggles. Now, hopefully we can get a good enough signal to literally drive the car with the goggles on the speed run. That would be unbelievably fantastic. I do have a transmitter here. It's a 5.8. It might do the trick. Then again, who knows? I'm going to try to talk to some guys that are more into drones and the Fat Shark goggles and see what's the best I can get my hands on. Because if I could be on the car, I could take it down a little bit further. It gives me a little bit more time to get up to the 200 miles an hour. And then we're going to end up having to stop this car. The car's going to weigh about 20 pounds. And you get 20 pounds and you fling it down the road, you know, at 200 plus miles per hour, you're going to have to stop it somehow. And what we got going is we're actually getting a parachute from Rocket Man Parachute. I was talking to Buddy over there a few weeks back, and they're making me a custom parachute for this car, and it's going to help us stop this thing. Thanks, Buddy. Real excited to get the parachute. I think it's coming in the mail tomorrow. Keeping my fingers crossed. Super excited on that. But that's how we're going to try to stop this car, or at least slow it down to the point where I can start to brake it realistically. You can't just take 20 pounds and start braking, you know, at 200 miles an hour. Things are going to come apart and break. So save the differentials for another run, let the parachute do its job. I'm sure that's going to work really well. They have a ton of experience with parachutes at that place, so I think it's going to work really neat. Anyways, there's just a ton of things going on here, so stay tuned for the build and for the run. We're super excited. Next video is going to be throwing these differentials together, which are already partway done. I'm going to show you on the motor mounts what we did and get this thing put together, because it's only about 6 or 8 hours of work to get her together at this point. So anyways, guys, we'll see you at the track.